What up, fam? Happy Wednesday. This is my Boomerang Season 1, Episode 5 review. This episode is called The Let Out, okay? And it begins in church, basically. The whole crew is there. All the girls, the guys, and the crew, they're at church. And basically, David comes to the pulpit, and he's the preacher, okay? He's about to give his sermon, basically, and he's saying he's kind of tired because he was out at the club last night. And I'm like, what? Okay. I don't know, maybe it's just me. At churches that I've gone to, I've never heard a preacher say, yeah, I was out at the club last night, but I guess that's what we do. Anyway, he says some people in the audience would know because they were out at the club with him, meaning, of course, all his friends that are sitting there front and center. All right, so then they flash to the night before at the club, and let me see, Ari, who's our guy, who's the bisexual guy with the Killmonger haircut, which I love. He is kind of cute. He's standing outside the club, and he's talking to a girl that he just met, basically. And let me see. He basically clues her in on what's about to go down, because apparently it's right at that, 145 point at the club when they're about to shut it down. And he goes out there because he knows what's about to pop off, okay? It's the parking lot pimping. It's the gathering. They got the whole food truck out there. It's music. It's everything. And all these people that are coming into it are tipsy, horny, and hungry, basically. They're trying to hook up, eat, and go home. But anyway, all these people start pouring out and let the party begin, okay? So next thing we show at the club on the way out is Simone and Rocky. And that's Tia's Bae's name, okay? I couldn't remember that last episode, so I just called her Bae because that's what Tia called her. But her name is Rocky. And Simone and Rocky are arguing because apparently Simone was not able to get the DJ to play Tia's new song. And she did try, okay, but Rocky is not happy, and Tia comes over and is like, yeah, that is kind of fucked up. You didn't get them to play my song tonight. So basically she promises to get it played, and Simone walks off. She's going to do what she has to do to get it done. Let me see. Then we're over to Bryson and David. They're just chilling on the car, basically leaned up against the car, and some girls are they're trying to holler basically at Bryson and David speaks about Christ, basically, about being a Christian. Like, this is literally where his conversation's at after the club during parking lot pimping time. Okay, so I'm all for everyone doing their own religion, their relationship to God. Do that, okay? But when what you're doing right now goes against what your religion is teaching for the most part, gosh, and I have a hard time with that one, because technically, to me, going to the club when I was that full-grown righteous Christian, it's frowned upon. But technically, you're not. There's all kinds wrapped up in there. I'm not going to get into that conversation, but let me go back. Don't bring that conversation to the parking lot outside the club. That's where it does not belong, okay? I'm sorry. You make people. Come on now. We could do better than that. Anyway, the girls hear what he's talking about, and they're walking off, okay, because they're uncomfortable. They're trying to holler, and David's talking about Christ. Anyway, they walk off. That's the end of that conversation. Basically, Bryson is like, I'm not that religious, David, like you. And he said, like, you just going to deny Christ for some ass? That's what David says to him. And live your life and make your own judgments, but don't judge those around you. Your religion teaches you that's wrong, okay? Period. All right, so outside the club where everyone is congregating, Simone is pissed because apparently she tipped the DJ inside the club $200 to play the song. And she's telling Ari this, and Ari's like, that ain't shit. Apparently, it's a common practice to tip a DJ a hell of a lot more than that to get a song played. And I'm like, I'm in the wrong line of business. That's a come up right there, y'all. Shoot. Okay, so David literally runs into this chick. He's walking and he runs into this girl. She's a very pretty girl. And they introduce themselves. And he's like, I'm David, like in the Bible. And she's like, okay. And She's like, why are you out here dressed like you going to church? And he's like, well, if it was Wednesday night, I would be. And she's like, okay. And she's like, well, you want to get a drink? My friends are selling drinks outside their car. And he's like, I don't drink. And she's like, what did she say? You're in recovery? And he's like, no, I'm a Christian. And she's like, okay. And she's like, I'm going back over here, immediately losing interest. Wow. Okay, there's a way to give somebody a message about who you are and where you're coming from and what you're putting your energy behind, but you don't have to attack them with it when you meet them. You don't have to, okay? Anyway, Simone is asking Bryson basically if he has some speakers basically, and she's trying to get Tia's new song played like loud right there in the parking lot because there's tons of people, and he's like no, and he pretty much has no suggestions, and she's mad at him for not being able to help in that moment, and she walks off, okay? So Simone gets into her car and starts playing the song, and I believe she has the factory stereo in the vehicle because that shit is not bumping. She's got the doors open, and she's playing the song loud as it can, and Simone and Rocky and Bryson come over, I'm sorry, Tia and Bryson and Rocky all come over, and they're like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm trying to get the song played. And she's like, you know what? Hold on, I got an idea. So Simone ends up finding the DJ who's about to get in his car and leave, and she's going off on him, basically saying, I gave you $200. Why didn't you pay that song? And he's like, basically, he's like, I play off a vibe. When I go into a club, there's a vibe that I feel in the club, and I'll follow through with that. And he's like, basically, I'm trying to play music that's vibing at that time, but not out of obligation. And I feel what he's saying, okay? Honestly, if you give a DJ a song in a club, first off, they haven't heard it. It could be straight garbage you're handing them. But anyway, she's like, no. She's going off on him, and he's like, if you excuse me, I need to leave. And she's like, no, you are not going to leave in this conversation. That nigga got in his car and bumped out. Okay, he's not here for it. Okay, so David, a little later on, he runs back into the same girl that he had the conversation with earlier, and she's sitting on the curb, and he's like, what are you doing, basically? And she's like, oh, all my friends basically got hooked up tonight, but I didn't. And she's like, so basically, I'm waiting on my Uber. And she's sitting on a curb, and she has like a little skirt on, and David, being the gentleman he is, he takes his jacket off and he puts it over her legs. And she's like, I don't know if this Uber is even going to find me. She's looking at her phone. He's like, let me see it. So he's putting the exact address versus, I guess, maybe the cross streets that she had put in there. And she's like, he'll be here in no time. And basically, he ends up inviting her to church the next morning. And she's like, oh, really? What time? And he's like, 7 a.m. And she's like, oh, I'm with you, girl. 7. Y'all at the club right now after it's closed. So it's got to be between 2 and 3 if we're in the early hour. 7? That's early, y'all. Shoot. Okay, so basically Simone was able to get this. She went over to the food truck that was there, and she's talking to the lady. And the lady's like, are you okay? And she's like, I just need to get this song played, and I don't know what to do. And she's like, my husband might be able to help you. And she's like, why? Is he DJ? And she's like, nah, he's Dominican. This nigga is backing his truck up with the sound system that is monster, massive, crazy. And he's playing his little Dominican music. And next thing we see basically is Tia's song comes on, and she's standing at the back of the truck, and she starts, she's singing along with it, and everybody's crowding around her, and they're all dancing to it. They feeling her song because, truth be told, that song's the shit, okay? So let me see. Bryson compliments Simone on basically getting this done because they're standing there watching Tia and everybody jam out to the song. It's a good moment. And they end up dancing themselves together, basically. And their dancing becomes an embrace, basically. At first, it's Bryson. He's standing up against the car. And Simone, at first she's facing him. Then they start dancing. And she turns around. You get your little booty in there. And they're so cute, these two. He ends up basically hugging her from behind. And she hugs him back. And then she turns around, y'all. And they kiss. I'm like, this was a good kiss. And the reason I'm saying this is because Bryson has some lips. Yeah, I don't know about you girls, but I love some lips, okay? Especially that bottom one, when they got that big bottom lips that you can suck up. Anyway, that was a good kiss, all right? But then immediately, they barely got this full-blown kiss really popping, and then somebody goes running by. And Bryson's stopping and he's looking, and immediately you see like everybody else just sort of take off. And they're like, why are we running? And they're like, I don't know, just go. Niggas do this, okay? We don't even need to know why, what, how, what. It can go down in a second. If somebody's running, we all running. This is the way it works, okay? So he ends up putting Simone in her car. He kisses her on the forehead. He's making sure his girl is getting home safe. Love a man that can be a man, okay? So anyway, she leaves and we're back at church the next day there, okay? So David, his whole message while he's doing his sermon here is basically that you got to learn how to lean on God and to allow God to lead us, okay? His message was beautiful and moving. David's character, he plays an anointed soul. He can act this role well. I enjoyed it, shoot. Okay, so basically at the end of this whole sermon, the girl that he invited the night before actually shows up, okay? And he's realizing it as he's walking away from the pulpit. And him and her lock eyes for a moment, and there's a smile. And basically his ex-wife, Crystal, who's part of his crew there, she turns around and looks at old girl and sees this moment. And her expression reads a little shocked, maybe a little hurt, but also a little possibly happy too. Like, you can tell that she really loves him because ultimately she wants him happy, okay? And in the scheme of all things, isn't that what we all want? This was a good episode, y'all. I enjoyed it. If you like my videos, hit the like button, become a subscriber, and hit the notification button. Leave comments down below. Y'all let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.